So for this section, we're solving 1 and 2-step equations. Notice I said solving. Yesterday we were not solving. So today we're trying to find the value of the equation. So to solve a 1-step equation, blank the variable by using blank or opposite operations. Get the variable on its own or get the variable... Yeah, go ahead. That's too big. Single out the variable by using... Come on. Inverse operations. And that just means opposite. Inverse or opposite operations. Okay? So, the first thing that we want to do if we're doing 2-step equations is we want to do the opposite of the add and subtract piece. So, use the addition and subtraction to remove the constant. Okay, that's one of the vocabulary words for this section is constant. And constant is the number that's by itself. We'll look at an example. If I was up here, I would call this the and let me just type it out as well. I would call this the constant. The number that's by itself. Okay? Second, use multiplication and division to remove the, what did we say the number in front of the variable was called yesterday? Coefficient. So up here, this number in front is the coefficient. And then, lastly, what is the dang it, I said the word. Sorry. Variable. So the x there is the variable or the letter. So we have those 3 pieces, coefficient, variable, and constant. Okay? Tip, if we're dividing by a fraction, multiply by the, does anyone remember what it's called where you flip it and multiply? Yes, reciprocal. Okay, it's the reciprocal. And so we're going to practice those things, okay, right off the bat. So there is something that I want us to practice and get in the habit of. Once we find our answer, we want to check it by putting it back in and solving it with the calculator. So for example, what do I have here? Multiplication, division, addition, or subtraction? Division. So if I have division, how do I undo division? What's the opposite idea of division? Multiplication. So I need to multiply by what's on the bottom. Okay? So I need to multiply by what's on the bottom. And what is a number divided by itself? What's 3 divided by 3? 1. So the reason we're multiplying to get rid of division is so those cancel. They reduce each other. So what's left on this side after I multiplied? Those cancel. Just the value x equals. Now in the calculator, what's 16 times 1.5? 24. Okay, now that's the first half. Okay, the second half is to put it back in our equation to see if it works. Okay, so 24 divided by 1.5 equals 16. We need to check to see if this works. So put 24 divided by 1.5. Okay, so it does work.
16.
Great. So let's try this again with number 2. Okay. Okay, so first step. identify what you're already doing in the problem. So what is that? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? Okay, so I'm going to write an M. How do I undo M? Undo multiplication. I divide, so I'm going to write step 2 is divide. Okay, so we just said any number divided by itself is 1. So those are going to reduce, and what's left? N. Okay, but what I do in math on one side, I have to do on the other side. So what's 42 divided by 12? What's 42 divided by 12?
3.5.
Okay, can you guess what I'm going to ask us to do now? Put it back in for n. So write this down. 12, 3.5 equals 42. We want to verify if that's true. So we want to verify that that's true. So type that in the calculator to see if it gives you back 42.
42.
So we know our answer is correct. And the reason we're going to do this, okay, if you don't have this piece, I'm not going to count it right. Okay, you need to have this piece written down. You need to plug it back in. Why do we need to plug it back in? Because sometimes when we solve things, we don't do it correctly. When we plug it back in, we get the wrong answer. It tells us, oh, I made a mistake somewhere. Okay, so it's a way to check yourself so that way you know that you need to correct your answer. Okay, so this one, the first step is to identify what's happening. Well, it's 6 over 7, E. Okay, is that division or is that multiplication? It's both.
Yes.
Okay, so this is multiplication and division. So remember a second ago I said that if you have a fraction, multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, well, does anyone remember what the reciprocal is? You have to... You just flip it. You just flip it upside down. So, Isaiah, what if I flipped that upside down, what would it be? 7 over 6. And so what I do to one side, I do to the other. Okay, now, 7 is going to reduce with 7, right? And 6 is going to reduce with 6. So what's left? Okay, now in the calculator, if you type it in with the parentheses like I have, it'll give you a value. So 12 times 7 divided by 6. And then use the parentheses. Yep, 7 divided by 6.
14.
Mm-hmm. Good.
14.
And then, good. So, you get 14. Now, once again, we want to plug this in to verify that that's correct. So, 6 over 7. Instead of E, I'm putting 14 in. So, multiply that value and see what you get. So, it's the same thing. 6 divided by 7, parentheses, 14, parentheses, enter. Okay. So we do in fact get 12. Okay.
12.
So verify that on your own real quick. So see if you can get that. And put in parentheses. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. And then here you can do it in parentheses. 6 divide 7 close 14. Okay. So let's try addition and subtraction problem. Okay. So this is first in this case, let's rewrite it as a decimal because that'll be easier. What's 1/2 as a decimal? 0.5. Okay, now, whenever we're doing addition and subtraction, it'll be really helpful if you do like this T-chart that I'm going to do. Okay, now, how do I undo addition?
Subtraction.
I have to do subtraction. So if I want to get rid of plus 3.5, I have to take away 3.5. And math, when I do things to the one side, I have to make it balanced, so I still have to do it to the other side. So what is left on this side? Well, those canceled and become 0. So Israel, yes, that's what's left. And what's 10 minus 3.5? 6.5. Okay, so now let's double check this. 6.5 plus 3.5 equals 10. Is that true or not true? And then I'll give you guys just a second to catch up.
It's true.
Okay? Let's try it again. Now, please, on your paper, write the T-chart. It's so helpful in the future. Please write the T-chart. Okay? Please write the T-chart. So, what do we have currently?
T. Minus.
Yeah, T minus 4.25. So, how do I undo subtraction?
Undo.
I have to add. So, plus 4.25 plus 4.25. So, what's left on the left side? These things cancel, and we just have T equals. You can. So later on, it'll be harder to do it in your head, so that's why I'm going to just write it out like this. Okay? And what is negative 4 plus 4.25?
0.25.
Okay? So let's plug that back in. 0.25 minus 4.25 equals negative 4. Is that true?
You don't know.
So type it in. Type it in the calculator. See what you get.
Negative 4.
Negative 4.
Yep.
Okay. I want you to do the next one on your own. So do number 6 on your own real quick. On this problem, we once again do the T, but the M and the 6 are in different places than our previous problems, but that's okay. The 6 is what kind of 6? Negative 6, so I have to add 6 to get rid of that, right? Okay, those go away. What's left? M equals what's 3.6 plus 6? 9.6. Okay, last step. Let's verify that that's true. Plug it in for M. 3.6. So, does anyone have a question why I'm putting it in the place of where M was? It's because it equals that variable. That letter is now that value. Right? M is 9.6, so if I take it and replace it, when I plug it in, I should get the correct answer. Okay, so does it work? Great. Okay. Now, what about this bottom problem here? What does it say on the left side? Negative 2x. Good. Negative 2x. Why is that negative 2x?
Negative.
There's 1, there's 2, so that's where the 2 comes from. Then there's an equal sign, and then how many are on this side?
4. I mean 6.
But they're all, so negative 6. So that's our equation. Now, how do I undo, well, first off, is this multiplication, division, addition, or subtraction? Okay, if it's multiplication, how do I undo it? Division. So what do I need to divide x by to get it by itself? By what? Negative 2. Good. Okay. Well, negative divided by a negative is a...
Positive.
So that's gone. 2 divided by 2 reduced to 1, so that's gone. So what's left? Equals. And what's negative 6 divided by negative 2? Positive 3. Why?
Positive 3.
Why?
Negative,
Because they're both negative.
equal Positive.
You're right. So now let's plug it in. Negative 2, parentheses. Notice, I'm not going to put x here anymore. I'm going to put 3. Equals negative 6. Is that true?
Let's see. 2 equals negative 6.
Thank you. Okay.
Negative 6.
You got it, Justin. Okay, so here's what I want you guys to do. We're going to do some two-step. Let me do a two-step with you first. We'll do 8 and 11. Okay. So, we need to be careful here because to solve two-step equations, we have to do the addition-subtraction piece first. Okay? So we have to do the add-subtract piece first. And then we have to do the multiply-divide piece second. Okay? So what piece is being added or subtracted on this side? The side with the variable.
9.
9 is multiplied. 14. So we're not talking about the coefficient, we're going to talk about the constant. So this always goes with the constant. What kind of 14 is that? So how do I undo positive 14?
Negative.
Minus 14. So I do that to both sides. Okay? So let you get caught up.
We have 9m. Shut up. That's only 1.
No. Remember, they're both negative. When two numbers are negative, they make a bigger negative. So,
It's 13 plus 14, but isn't this negative?
correct.
28.
So what?
27. Negative 27. Okay? So, now we're at the point that we were doing just a second ago where we, what? All we're doing is solving by undoing the operation. So we undid the 14.
So we add.
Now we undo that. We're trying to get the variable by itself. So how do I undo 9 times m?
Divide.
I divide by 9. So divide by 9. Divide by 9. Say that again. Hey, focus. Okay, so the 9s go away. What's left?
So divide by. I can't see.
Okay, yeah, do it.
I got you.
Negative 27.
9 divided by 9 is 1.
Yep, that's why they went away.
1.
It's 3.
But what kind of 3? Negative 3.
All my butter to do.
Negative 3.
Okay, so here's where we have to plug it back in, though. We have to plug it back in to the original. So 14 plus 9 times negative 3. Let's see what that value is. So what did I do? I took that m and I plugged it in here.
Which is that?
14.
But you made it negative this time, then the other.
It's right here. You told me it was negative, so that's why it's negative.
Negative 13.
So 14 plus 9 times negative 3 is negative 13. So it does work. It does work.
Yes.
Okay? So I'll let... Yeah, we're good? Okay. So let's try this one now. Okay, draw the T-chart. Okay, I'm only going to do what you tell me to do, so what should I do first?
Subtract.
Subtract what?
15.
remember, our goal is to get the variable by itself. So we want to start on the side with the variable. Okay? Do it to the other side. So what's 15 minus 15? 0, so it goes away. 4W is left. Now, what's negative 13 minus 15? What's negative 13 minus 15? How do you know?
Because I added 13 plus 15, but it's gonna be a
It's
negative.
2 negatives, so it makes a bigger negative.
Great. When we're adding and subtracting, 2 negatives makes a bigger negative. Okay, now, Israel, what should I do next? How do I get the W by itself? Okay, why am I dividing by 4? Because 4 is currently being multiplied by W. 4 times W. So what I do to one side, I do to the other. Those reduce. What's left? Okay, and what's negative 28 divided by 4? Sorry, tell me to move next time.
But is
Negative 7.
Negative 7.
Negative 7.
negative 7.
Okay, last step is to plug it back in for W. So notice I just rewrote the original with parentheses instead of W, and I filled it in with negative 7.
Negative 13.
Okay, so it's negative 13, so that's a true statement.
Negative 13.
Okay, we're going to do one more and we'll be done. Okay, let's look at 14. Question? Okay, on a beach trip, Lucy rents a bike from Wheels by the Waves, where they rent bikes for $12 plus $3 per hour. If Lucy spent $30, how many hours did she ride the bike? Okay, so we have to make sense of that sentence right there. So that was the total. 30 was the total, right? So let's put 30 by itself because that was the total.
3H.
Okay, who said that?
Me.
Alex says 3H. Why is it 3H? What's that key word?
Hour.
Per hour.
Per hour.
Okay, so $3 per hour
Is 12 plus 3 hours?
plus 12, yep. So 12 is the base cost, and then every hour after that is $3 more. Okay, so based on what we did before, do my T chart, there's not a lot of space, sorry. Which thing would I get rid of first? The 12. So how do I undo plus 12?
Minus 12.
Minus 12.
They don't get no 12s left. 0.
So that's gone, and what's left on this side? 3H. Okay, what's 30 minus 12?
Wait.
18. You did 2 by accident. Okay, now, how do I solve for this? This is $18 cost 3 hours. Or sorry, $18 is equal to $3 times how many hours?
Per hour.
Yeah. Deshaun says 6. But let's look at how we actually get there by dividing by 3. Dividing by 3. What is 18 divided by 3?
6.
6 equals
8. Or 18.
H. 6 equals H. Okay, but let's plug it back in. I know we don't have a ton of space. Sorry. 30 equals 3 times parentheses plus 12. Okay, what am I going to put into the parentheses?
6.
The 6 because that is H. So
4.
what's 3 times 6 plus 12?
What did you
30. 30.
30.
30.
So it's good. Okay?